Hi, this is Matt Donegan from Challenger Stories, talking to businesses from startups right through to market leaders. Today, I'm with Tessa Marchington, the CEO of Music in Offices. Music in Offices brings businesses and their communities together. So, Tessa, tell me something about the business.
Hi, Matt. Yeah, so Music in Offices, we have four main programs. We set up office choirs, getting people within the business singing together each week. We offer instrumental lessons, so people can have an individual instrumental lesson once a week, come away from their desk, recharge, feel refreshed, and go back to their desk happier and more productive. And we set up workshops. This can be for wellbeing, or it could be for inclusion. It could be just to bring a team together, or to talk about objectives, business objectives, through the lens of music. And our fourth pillar is an events agency. So we do provide musicians for any events, summer parties, Christmas events, or just to have someone serenade you in the atrium as you walk into the office in the morning.
Excellent. Now, you do this for some of the biggest businesses in the UK, don't you? So, ranging from Publicis and Dentsu in advertising and marketing through to Channel 4, Bank of England, Corporation of London, Norton Rose Fulbright. So this isn't just, or this isn't geared towards servicing the consumer market. You're talking to corporates, aren't you?
Absolutely, talking to corporates and their employees, but also charities. We work connecting charities with the organisation who might be their charity of the year, for example, and we'll create an activity or a singing activity for them to actually engage beyond the fundraising, so they can fundraise together through music. We really work in any sector, and it is just about collaboration, creating cohesion, and bringing the many benefits, the health benefits, the mental health benefits of music making together with people who, up to that point, you might have only just ever passed in the lift, or you might not know someone who works in a different department. But this connecting, this leveling, and this bringing together of silos can have such a huge impact on the individual, but also on the business itself.
Now, from what I can understand and from the conversations we've had previously, there are tangible benefits for businesses to undertake your programs. It's not just about welfare, about staff welfare, and about giving the staff a more engaging environment, although that is clearly a benefit. What are the other benefits for the business?
Well, there's networking benefits. So we have a wide range of clients who we're working with each week, and we have very good relationships. So sometimes it could be as simple as making introductions to a different sector or to a potential client, or creating an event that actually is a client-based event. So we might have one of our clients, Norton Rose Fulbright, wanting to have an event with their clients, and doing that through music making it's a fun way of networking, as well as actually a very impactful one.
Yeah. Okay. So also, I guess from the days of COVID, where people moved out the office into the hybrid environment, I know there's a massive push in the city to get people back into the workplace. Sometimes it's mandatory, and other times they're bringing the workforce back in a more engaging way. Is that one of the reasons why businesses work with you in order to do that?
I think it is now. I mean, it wasn't from the outset, but we adapt and we respond to really the current need. And right now, the current need is absolutely to add value to why people would come into the office, especially the younger generation, who many of them are perfectly happy working from home and need another reason to come in to pay for the train fare. And singing together, or drumming together, or having your saxophone lesson in the working day is actually proving a really valuable benefit.
Yeah, that's really cool, isn't it? Breaking up the day with doing something that inspires, that engages the target audience. The target audience here being an engaged workforce, and productivity is one of the things that's going to come out of that, clearly. So, what made you do it in the first place? I mean, the business music in offices has been going approximately 18 years, so not a startup. But what made you do it in the first place? What inspired you?
I was really inspired as a student at the Royal Academy of Music, studying piano accompaniment, which is a course, postgraduate course, all about being with the musician you're working with. And in those 2 years, I was surrounded by wonderful musicians, an inspiring place to be. And in contrast, at the same time, my brother just started in a law firm, and I just thought it was also at the time of the financial crash in 2007, 2008, and the city just felt like it needed creativity, it needed music making, it needed people on the streets coming together, and actually how much that would transform not just the working environment, but people's in everyday life who were at that time going in 5 days a week. And so I just took that idea of having lessons, the musicians I was training with, studying with, bringing them into the law firm where he was, and the inspired partner who was working with at the time, who I still teach piano to actually, she just got it. She got the idea of how it would bring people together and how it would lift people's spirits. And more than that, it would then provide a really tangible attraction, employee attraction, differentiator between law firms, and then, hopefully retain the talent, which actually it has proven to do.
Yeah, that's a really good point. I mean, talent retention, attracting talent in the first place, one of the biggest challenges for any major business in the city, and in fact anywhere. Just keeping your great guys is really important. So that the tangible benefit again comes in with just retention, staff retention, and I completely understand that. Lots of businesses are looking for programs, lots of different ways to engage their staff, and anything from massages through to music lessons, and I think that's fascinating. So 18 years.
Yeah.
What's been the big challenges then? Because you've gone through COVID, you started the great financial crash. What else are you going to be? What else is life and business going to throw at you?
I think the challenges, they come in different guises, and COVID was really difficult for us. Not meeting in person, the choirs, we had to really reposition very quickly how we created the choirs. They went online really quickly, but lessons actually, plummeted. People weren't able to have lessons at home. They weren't wanting to spend the money. So we delivered a lot of wellbeing workshops online, worked with a lot of music therapists who were able to deliver emotional regulation workshops, and we extended that beyond our clients to their families, to their children. So we have always adapted, but I think the constant challenge is positioning music to be valued in the same way as other workplace initiatives. I think often it's the first thing to be cut in budgets. However much the budget might have been won in terms of the program that we're delivering, it's also the first thing to be thought of as not necessary. So that is a constant challenge. However, it is, as people then see the benefit, we have had clients for 18 years. A lot of our clients don't leave us. So I think once they experience what we offer and they understand actually our ecosystem as well, not just that individual choir, but how that choir can fit into an ecosystem of businesses in the city who are making music, and then they take part in our events. And we have an event upcoming, which is a good example of how bringing together businesses in the city en masse can have a huge effect for storytelling, for sharing the sorry.
No, what you're saying is feeding back into what we discussed right at the beginning, which is about building businesses, communities, about engaging with the community. Because I mean, you talk about talent retention, but actually networking, massive part of what any business does, where so much business is done. So instead of doing it on the golf course, you're saying doing it in the choir.
Yeah, and I think people are looking for other ways of networking outside of sport, outside of drinking, offering a really wide range of activities which appeals to everybody. People, women often, and men, you might have commitments at home, you might not want to be out in the evening, but to do it all in that working day has proven to be actually life-changing for some people. Some of the testimonials I have are saying that the impact that singing in a choir has had on one particular person I can share, said it gave me a sense of identity. I'm the bass. I'm needed. I have a role. And prior to that, he felt invisible. He was in the post room. He said no one knew my name, and now I am in the choir. I have a role, and that hasn't just affected the way that I am in the workplace, but actually my friends and family have noticed a difference in my character. I'm more confident. And this happens every day. How music can be their therapy each week, being part of a collective of a choir working towards a performance, and then that pride and sense of achievement, having never sung in a choir. We're working with mostly our people in our office choirs are people who don't enjoy singing, maybe, or didn't enjoy singing enough to join their local singing group in their community at home, but because of the convenience of it being in the workplace, they discover a new love of music, and then we take them to concerts. They get to meet our teachers who are all gigging professionals. So it's sort of entering into the world of music and what that can bring.
So how else are you using the programs? What are the further extensions of what Music in Offices does?
So we have an event coming up to celebrate International Women's Day. And that is a good example of how music can be a powerful storyteller. We will be interweaving words from women who will be interviewing between now and International Women's Day. And the words of these women will be interwoven into the music and then actually played in the Guildhall Yard in the City of London. And this is an example of how this will be open to office choirs, but also open to the community, open to residents in the City of London. And after the march and walk, which will start in Leadenhall Market, picking up historical women as well, women from 1500, 1600 who had shops in the Royal Exchange then. Hester Pinney, for example, who not many people know about, but she built an empire out from lace and was the first woman to actually set up kind of credit, lending men money through her lace empire.
Oh, amazing.
Elizabeth Fry, and we'll be interweaving these words of women from history, but also from last year when we interviewed women across the City of London who had broken the mould in senior leadership positions, from Dame Julia Hoggett to Alison Gowman, and Caroline Alberti, who's the first City women chamberlain since 1357. I mean, these incredible women, and their words will be part of this piece of music. And this year we were highlighting women who are sort of engines, often perhaps behind the scenes, but women who really make things happen. And will culminate at the close of market ceremony in the London Stock Exchange. So what better way to bring music into the heart of the city?
Fantastic. So again, about building business community. That's fantastic. So we talked a bit about the history, about the sort of 18 years. So Tessa, what does the future hold for Music in Offices?
I think the exciting thing about music in offices and what really drives me is that we as a team and as a wider community, we evolve and react to what's needed. So I haven't actually got a sort of fixed plan, but we will definitely be celebrating 20 years in a couple of years and putting on a big event with all of our workplace choirs and instrumental pupils and partners. And I think, going forward, we'll be creating bigger events. Really looking forward to being putting on an event in the Royal Exchange coming up, and developing more events in the City of London, working with the destination team in the city who are really focused on activating the streets in between the buildings and really sharing and showcasing what the city has to offer.
Yeah. So in running your own business for 18 years, you've gone through some hard times, been challenging to say the least. What are the attributes that you most value in a leader?
Well, there are two leaders who I find inspirational. Many leaders I find inspirational, but Maureen Tanguy is a wonderful woman arts and business leader who really has broken the mold in creating the world's first art talent agency. And I think what I find inspirational about Maureen is that she is absolutely clear on her purpose, and she delivers it knowing with unparalleled preparation in terms of the knowledge and the stats and what she needs, the language she needs to have at her fingertips in order to cut through businesses. I think, sorry.
Right. Okay. No.
I know. She
And
say that.
so that's someone that you hold in high regard. What are the attributes that she has, that you believe that she has, that define a great leader?
Authenticity, really clear purpose, and passion.
Yeah,
I think,
purpose, passion. I mean, passion can be misdirected. Purpose, that is the focus, right? That's the thing. That's the spark that lights everybody around you. Yeah, I totally get that point. What's the spark?
Clarity, like a clarity of purpose, that brings the language you need to evoke other people's response and persuasion, and to have that absolute is, I think, very necessary.
So having said that, what's your spark?
I just like making things happen. I really like making things happen, making music happen in places where it doesn't necessarily sit, increasing the value that people place on music being a part of their everyday life in whatever form that takes, and having that valued in the same way as, a sporting game, or as a management consultant coming in, doing a leadership workshop. Bring music in and use music as that lens so that people can not just experience it, but feel as well as think. And I think that combination is really powerful.
Okay, that's excellent. Really like that. So tell me something about your knowledge base, or we mentioned briefly about someone that's inspired you. Have there been any books along the way? Have there been any key learnings aside of your own experience?
I really loved Dame Stephanie Shirley's book, Let It Go. I met her about 10 years ago at a Women of the Year event. And what a phenomenal leader as a woman, and also way of creating a business, the co-ownership, the empowering women who are at home at a time where that was really difficult to cut through, and she obviously had to then change her name or use her family's name of Steve to sign letters in order to get responses. But I think she's a phenomenal leader and created such an important and purpose-led technology empire.
And then had no aspirations of greed at the end of it either, did she? She was benefactor for many causes, many really relevant and worthy causes as well. So
continues to do so.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean that. If anybody hasn't read the book, they should go out and grab a copy. I've actually got my copy on the shelf, ready to read any minute now. So okay, that's great. So look, when it comes down to it, if you were walking on the street and you saw your 18-year-old self, what would you tell yourself now?
I do wish that I had more of an understanding of business, a business framework, even what shares are, what a business plan is. I think entering into a business with purpose and passion has absolutely driven me, but I wish I'd entered into it with a little bit more understanding and of how a business, the mechanics of a business, how that could work. I mean, the co-ownership model, I wish I absolutely have done, and I would still do if I really understood it. So I think it's stepping into areas which aren't necessarily your natural fit, and not just leading with purpose and passion, although that does get you far.
Yeah, you're right, and it gets you far. What it does is it provides a raison d'etre, but actually you need the plan. You need the plan to get you to the place where you want to be, and understanding. Well, starting with the end in mind, you're absolutely right. If you start with the end in mind, then you can map a pathway to it. Understanding business fundamentals is really it's required. I mean, every single business. The surprising thing that I find is that every single business basically works on exactly the same framework, whether that's a local hairdressers or Facebook. If they're successful, then they work in the same. They use the same framework. And if businesses knew what that framework is, they'd find it a lot easier. So
you can share that with me.
I'd be happy to. Probably take a little while, but yeah, no, absolutely, it can be done, and it makes life a lot easier. So yeah, I completely take your point there. So a bit of business education is what you're saying. That really helps.
Yeah. I'm yet to write a business plan, but maybe year 20 will be the year that I actually write that business plan. And
I'm sure you can get there. I'm sure you can get there. But if you start with passion, if you start with purpose, if you start with your reason why, the famous Simon Sinek book, Start With Why, It all starts with that. Any business with a purpose stands a great chance. So look, it's inspiring to hear what you're doing. I'm really, really keen to see what Music in Offices is doing over the next 12, 24, 36 months. I want to see what your plans are. So you can share those with me.
Thank
Thank
you.
you for your time today. I've really, really appreciated it. It's an inspiring business, and I hope and believe that you will go on inspiring people in doing what you're doing, helping large businesses becoming more human. We live in a day and age right now with AI breathing down our necks when actually humanity is the one thing that we need above all. So, Tessa Marchington, thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you so much for having me.